I'm on the hunt for freelancers. I will start the pod now. I'm on the hunt for some freelancers that want to do some contract work. I have a budget. I want you to be a professional. I want you to take amazing photos. I also want you to be able to film and keep up. If that's you, reach out to me. And the companies I work with too, all know good freelancers. So if you come across one that you think would be a good fit, I'm looking.
I wish I was one of those that would be a good fit. I think I could keep up.
Oh, definitely.
But I don't think I don't run a camera, man. I'm not
You're
good
a hunter.
on cameras. I'm a hunter, but I'm not good with a camera. I've always thought it would be fun to film a hunt.
It's a lot of pressure.
It is. Well, and it adds another element to it now, right? I mean, I like to solo hunt. I mean, a lot of the elk success I've had has been alone. So you add another body in there, another, extra movement, something else, more scent,
More stink,
everything.
more movement, more sound.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough. It's way harder. That's my dog, everybody. You're going to hear her a lot. She likes Tyson.
She's liking me too. Yeah. I think she likes me.
This is Tyson from Easton. Tyson, what's your last name?
Tyson Yates.
Yates?
Yep.
Are you related to James Yates?
I'm not.
Okay.
No.
Have you gotten that before?
I get it all the time. I know James, but no relation. Maybe if you look deep enough, I don't know. I guess we're all related.
Is your back country, what is it, Yates in the back country too? Is that your Instagram?
Maybe it should be, right? I can knock off his Instagram handle, but I'm like not even close to as technical as him, and I like to sleep more than 2 hours a night. I mean, he's a nut. That guy, he gets after it like you. I mean,
No, he's on another level, man. I'll do that for elk. Like, I won't sleep for elk this year. I hunted Idaho till dark in my tree stand for elk. More to come on that. And then I got down, hiked all the way out to my truck, and I was like, let's go to New Mexico. And it's night. You can't hunt. Might as well drive. Drove all the way to New Mexico, was hunting by 1 p.m. Had a great first evening. I will say, though, the very next day, I took like probably a 4-hour nap on the mountain.
Yeah.
And we had a spike walk right up to us. It's on video. I didn't know any of that happened. I was in the deepest sleep ever, but
I can sleep anywhere. I'm known hunting as the Tibernator. That's what my dad and brother call me.
okay.
I mean, it's like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock in the morning. I can be on a rock. I can be on a bed of pine needles. It doesn't matter. I lay down, I'm out. It's my superpower.
Okay. I have that similar superpower at home. Like, Luna, come here. I have that superpower at home where, like, I'll say goodnight to my wife and I'll be asleep within 10 seconds.
Oh, me too.
And she's like, I've never met anyone who just, I'm like, yeah, I go to the very end and then I'm out of juice. And
Well, the key, I tell my wife, it's a clean, clear conscience.
Oh.
That's why we sleep well. We have clean, clear consciences that don't keep us up at night. So
Yeah. How long have you been with Easton?
I started almost 8 years ago. Yep.
What did you get hired to do first?
So I got hired to be a national account manager, actually. I was working with like the big box stores, just selling product to them. And frankly, had no business getting that job. It's kind of a funny story. The guy who hired me was the president of the company at the time. And in the interview, he actually ripped my resume up and threw it in the garbage. He's like, this is what I think about your qualifications for this position. And I was like, all right, But he called me back and I got another interview and, long story short, got the job. But, I've been there 8 years now and kind of throughout that time changed jobs a little bit to where I was overseeing just sales for a little while. And then, I don't know, about 2 years ago, I think I got the marketing piece as well. So it's awesome brand to work for, awesome family to work for. I mean, we're owned by the Easton family still. Yeah. Awesome people, super honest, love archery, a family that's done so much for the sport on the target archery side, the hunting side. It's fun to work for a company with those kind of values and integrity.
You're pretty young, man, to be, that's a pretty big role. How old are you?
35.
35 years young. Married?
Married as of about 2 years ago. I have a beautiful wife and a little baby on the way.
Well, congrats. Do you know if it's a boy or girl?
I do. Yeah, it's a boy. Yeah,
you lucky dog. Do you have a name picked out?
I do, but I'm sworn to secrecy with the wife.
I knew that was going to be the case.
Yeah.
Well, wait. What's the due date?
Due date is March 2nd.
Not September 1st. Good job.
Dude, yeah. Look, we got married in July. She wanted a fall wedding. I was like, I won't be able to attend if it's a fall wedding. Like, I'm sorry, but I can't do it. Like, and I told her, I said, I could give up like a couple days for one season. The problem is every anniversary
it perpetuates.
From now, do you really want that? So for those watching, think it through. Plan the babies, right? Like you don't want to be at elk camp.
It's like arithmetic, right? You just do some mathematics.
It's easy. It really, if you need help, I don't know, you can, I don't want to put my cell phone number, but look me up. If you need help with the math, I can help you. But my wife laughs. She's from California,
Okay.
San Diego area, and not from like a hunting family. They're actually really intrigued by it.
Yep.
And my brother-in-law is on his second season hunting now.
See, you're doing
hunting
the
elk.
Doing the Lord's work.
Doing the Lord's work. He loves it, and he's done it completely solo. He's read, he reads books, and he's like a book reader. He's not watching YouTube videos. He reads books on hunting, like the old style books, right? Like
Really?
40, 50-year-old books about where to look for elk hunting, for elk, and he comes up with his own strategies. And on public land, he's got into elk every year. He hasn't killed one yet.
He will.
But every year,
What's his name?
His name's Blake.
Blake. Stay on your grind. It sounds like you're doing the one thing. You're getting into elk every day. That's the formula. And elk hunting learning curve or whatever. It is a steep one, right?
Oh, for sure.
And we're gonna
That's
get
on
in
public land. I mean,
it is. But there's a couple things you just can't you can't kill elk if you're not into them. So, all right, time out. I'm putting this dog out. We just did our secret knife drop today. I've never done that with him before, and so it's a very interesting model. I'll tell you after the pod. But it's all email related. It's based on the people that subscribe to my email, not theirs, and only they got access to the knife.
it's cool. Cody was telling me about it.
We sold them all out. It was cool, and it's humbling.
Yeah, I mean,
It's very humbling.
Yeah.
Okay, so we were talking about your brother-in-law Blake.
Yes.
He's new into it. Tell me about how you met your wife from California.
From California. So I was an old single guy, man. I was single. We were 30. I guess I was 34 when we got married.
Yep.
33 maybe. But it was just at a barbecue with some friends. I was mutual friends with one of her friends and invited that girl. Yes. And she showed up, and every one of my friends is like getting her phone number, and I'm kind of sitting there like, dang, okay, well that there goes that, right?
So you have like a bachelor, like you're all satellites.
Oh yeah, exactly. I was a satellite bull. I mean, I'm 5'9". It's hard to be the herd bull at 5'9", right? So all my buddies were getting her number, and I'm just kind of sitting there like, okay. And then we started playing pickleball together, just like a smaller group. And I asked her on a date. She friend zoned me. So kind of, yeah, back to the satellite bull situation, right? So I'm ripping bugles off in the background and raking every tree I can find, right? Trying to be the herd bull. But long story short, here's my claim to fame. She actually ended up asking me on a date.
Now we're talking.
After a few months, so who knows? The elk, maybe the herd bulls all got killed off. Actually, they didn't. My buddies are still all alive and well. But, something happened with the other herd bulls. She looped back around and she said, "Hey, is going on a date with you still on the table?" And I said, "No, it's not. It fell off the table." I was trying to be cool, right?
Yeah.
And then it took me like 3 seconds to be like, "Just kidding. Yes, it is." And literally after our
Did
first
she
date,
have pickleball game?
dude, she's good. She's an athlete.
Okay. I
My
like
wife's legit.
athletic women. My wife's a better athlete than me.
For sure. Yeah.
She got a scholarship for college sports. I did not. I paid tuition. So my kids are so athletic, and it's all because of her. It's not because of me. So
I'm looking forward to that too. Like my wife is into sports, so I'm hoping that our kids will be as well.
Naturally.
I'd rather go to like a little soccer game than to like, I love my niece, so if she watches this, I'm sorry, but I went to like dance competitions for 18 years and it was great, but I would rather go to a little league soccer game.
I haven't been to any of my daughter's piano lessons, but I've been to her volleyball practices.
There you go.
I've been to her outdoor soccer games, and my son's wrestling. Yeah.
It's fun.
It's cool. My daughter's more athletic than my son. I think she takes
How old's your daughter?
She's 10.
10. And your son's younger, right?
He's 8.
Yeah.
And hopefully this week, Tristan, we don't get a phone call from the principal. Yeah, he's been getting in trouble
Attaboy, Tristan.
at school quite a bit, but they're adjusting. We just moved to Idaho, like I was telling you, so they're in a new school and making new friends, and I'm really stoked about that. What part of Utah do you live in?
Well, I grew up in Tremonton, which is like, I shouldn't even. Yeah, don't move there. It's terrible.
That's north, right?
I'm just kidding. I love Tremonton, but I just don't want it to grow. Yeah, it's right on the Idaho border.
Yep.
It's a cool little spot. It should be Whitetail Haven. Honestly, there's a river bottom that flows through.
There's not
the valley.
whitetail there?
No whitetail. I think the DNR kills them. Is the rumor. They'll actually helicopter.
It does look like whitetail country.
For sure.
Yeah.
But I grew up there, hunting, fishing, doing that whole, the thing all of us love. And then now I live in the city. I like to be super depressed about it to my wife from time to time. She calls me Eeyore. My Eeyore moments of like, oh, I'm a city guy now.
What's the commute to
it's like
Easton?
20 minutes. So it's great for that. But at some point, like I'm gonna bite off the hour commute. And we look at lots all the time. Like I'm gonna end up on 10 acres somewhere other than the city. I just can't.
My boy Kendall over at Black Ovis, I think he's got a hell of a commute to Black Ovis.
Where is he?
He's over in Park City somewhere.
Okay.
It's about an hour drive.
Yeah.
But he, again,
worth it.
He just thinks and that dude works like you nonstop. So he's just, it is what it is. But I could see that. And honestly, for a guy who drives through Salt Lake and has for 20 something years, because it's on the way to good elk hunting.
Absolutely.
Your traffic, like I literally now have to plan to try to go through Salt Lake between midnight and 4 a.m. Like that's the only way to get through it fast.
It's gotten crazy. It's growing so fast. And I tell everybody like Utah's awful. Don't move there, So don't move to Utah. It's just getting so bad. And getting a deer tag every other year is basically what you're going to hunt deer in Utah now.
Wow.
Even with a bow.
Wow.
Right. So you can get an elk tag still every year, but you're basically hunting cows because there's only a handful of, I shouldn't say that. There are some OTC units for bulls. I just have never had great success.
Yeah, and I have a few buddies that have, but man.
It's a grind.
It's a grind. I'm sitting on 17 points in Utah.
Oh, you're just getting warmed up. That's nothing. Yeah.
Can't draw anything.
You could draw like a couple CWMUs, but that's the other problem. So I've drawn one tag in the state of Utah. It was a Ponsagant mule deer tag.
Okay.
Awesome unit. You've probably heard of
Phenomenal. Been through there.
It's like mule deer Disneyland.
It's kind of thick though. Like, how do you find deer?
Well, there's areas that are thick. There's like a bench that's like sagebrush, mostly sagebrush, but pockets of cedars, mahoganies, sort of thing. So you can glass that for miles. And then there's kind of a higher elevation spot that's in the pine trees, but still enough open. And it's just like, it's insane, the deer that you see. But it took me, I think I had 21 points, so 21 years.
What was the pressure like with that, knowing that you have 21 points invested?
It made it an unenjoyable hunt for me, frankly.
I have done that. I have been in those shoes, man. Like, you got to explain that. Cause like
my advice to everybody,
careful what you wish for.
Here's my advice. Don't do it. Don't wait for just, I like shooting big animals just like everybody, but don't wait 20 years. Like, hunt a good unit every 7 to 10. You're going to have a good hunt. You probably won't shoot the same caliber, but there's less pressure. It was so bad for me that my dad had the same number of points that I did. He did not draw. He doesn't want the tag. Yeah. He doesn't want the bow for sure. He's like, I'll wait till I get it with a rifle. Like, I can handle the pressure with a gun.
Yep.
Like 400 yards, boom. Like, I got the buck I was going after. But it just made it like, it made it tough. And I almost considered starting a business for like hunting counseling.
Yeah.
At the end of it, or during it, I needed someone to talk me off a ledge of like, and my dad's like, who cares? Just go shoot it. Just go shoot a nice buck. Because that's usually my mentality. I'm just going to go have fun.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it. I couldn't.
I totally feel you, man. And there's still a couple states I have so many points in that I'm afraid it's going to be like that when I get the tag, man.
Yeah, I think it adds, I don't know. It's hard to put myself in your shoes. You've killed so many elk, solid elk. I guess you still feel pressure. I don't know, but.
Well, you know why I feel pressure is like I was telling you, like when I hunt the like Utah place, that's that, private land hunt. It's like the pressure is you cannot wound an elk.
Oh, sure.
You draw blood, you're done. You also have a guide telling you where to go, which is weird for me. And then you have a camera guy. And it's just, I was telling you, like the second I got done with that hunt, I was headed to Montana without a cameraman, without a guide. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is actually why I do what I do. So it's okay to do those hunts. But now I've done it twice. I kind of know the deal. It's high pressure. And guys like Cam Haynes make it look easy because his hunt schedule is insane and the stakes are so high and he's got ice in his veins, man. Like, so I have mad respect for Cam.
For sure.
And Cam listens to this. So what's up, Cam?
Hey, Cam.
But the
Cam's a stud.
he's a stud. I love him to death.
My nephews, I have a nephew who's 17. These are kind of like the ones that are big in hunt. I have several nephews actually, but 17 and 15 are kind of the two older ones that are now diehard hunters. You, Cam Haynes, Dudley, a few others that they watch, and I forget his. Is it bowhunter?
Yeah. Bo Brooks.
Bo Brooks. Thank you.
Casey
the
Brooks'
elk caller.
boy. Yep.
Yeah, he's they're obsessed with watch, and that's who's inspired them to hunt.
That's cool,
right? And so it's that they go to YouTube, they watch videos, and before they could hunt. Now my nephew got in his truck, he shot a buck OTC in one unit one day with my other nephew who's can't drive yet. The next day they get in his truck and they go for 3 days, just the two of them, and killed like a pretty nice little 3x4 on a whole separate unit that's, all general season land. It was with a gun, but shoot, man, that's tough hunting. Like,
love it.
I mean, I super proud uncle moment. I'm like, that's awesome.
Well,
so these podcasts matter. I mean, there's, podcast videos, they get kids pumped, and heck, they get me pumped.
They do, yeah. Okay, so you at Easton, man, like you have a considerable amount of responsibility, and the timing is interesting. You're here, and I'm not stoked that you guys are launching this arrow December 3rd. I feel like we should launch it today, but we can't. And I have a bunch of content that I've almost accidentally posted, and I'm not going to be the leaker. And I almost leaked a Matthews bow a couple years ago. I had it on a story for like 5 seconds. It was way in the background. Somebody screenshotted it, took it to archerytalk.com, blew it up, and they could make out that it said V3X. And I got a hell of a scolding from Matthews. So I am in control of this. I can tell when this drops. We're going to drop this the same week that you guys go live.
Cool.
So the 5.0 has been in the works for over a decade.
Right around a decade, the new Easton 5.0. Yeah.
Are you just like relieved to finally get this off your plate?
For sure. And, even over the last couple of years, especially like listening to you, just some of the feedback from the market, it's like, when is Easton going to do this, right?
Yeah.
We launched the Sonic. Some people, I think it's done well for us, but a lot of guys were saying, I'd shoot it if it was a 5mm. Like, why not a 5mm? So, I mean, we were really passionate with being able to make this product in the USA. It's a big thing for Easton. That's we're the only arrow manufacturer.
No one else can say that.
No one else can say that. I mean, to some degree, no one else can really say they're making their own arrows. I mean, there's third-party manufacturers overseas who is really easy to start an arrow company. You call them and tell them what kind of decal you want.
There's some dudes out of Wisconsin that started their own.
And really?
Then I think they got in trouble by you guys.
Oh,
yeah.
I don't even know about it.
And they closed shop.
Oh.
And some of you know what, I'm not going to say their name, but some of y'all know what I'm talking about. And, because I could have made my own arrows.
For sure.
But you guys, I can vouch. I've been to your factory, like in the flesh. And I don't know if you guys do public tours, but my God, that museum you have.
It's cool. Yeah.
If you're really passionate bow hunter, you will be like, even me, I'm not like a nerd on history, but like, gosh darn, you stop in your tracks.
There's a book in there that's like 1,200 years old or something about, it was a king's book to the people, I believe, on how to make a bow and arrow so that they could defend themselves. Pretty cool. They've never let me touch the book.
Yeah.
It is in there.
So we've covered, like you guys are made, like I've seen stuff on little talk forums and stuff like Easton's not made in the USA, this, that, the other. But like, I know like Washington here, you're in Washington right now, like there's a manufacturer over in Seattle that does, I think, get you your aluminum.
Well, aluminum, we get carbon fiber out of California. There's also one of our main carbon fiber suppliers is actually in Utah.
Yeah.
A local company is probably only about 45 minutes from our factory, actually.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I see those things too, and I get people who screenshot like an archery talk. They're like, you should respond. And I'm like, I'm not going to respond. Like, I'm not going to go try to sniff out every person saying something. But yeah, we take a lot lot of pride in that, you know. And
that's cool.
I think, now more than ever, archers care and people in general care about U.S. manufacturing. It's, It's been a big talking point over the last, I don't know, 12 months in the U.S. at least on U.S. manufacturing and U.S. jobs. And we employ right around 300 people in Salt Lake City, Utah. And some of those people have been there. I mean, I think we have a guy that's been there for 46 years.
Yep.
But a lot of 35-year plus manufacturing employees who love their jobs and take pride in what they do. And that's translated into winning every Olympic medal ever in archery. So that skill set, that attention to detail, that passion for what these people do, it's yielded results on the podium at the world's biggest event in archery. So, these guys take pride in it. I equally take pride in it. I mean, I was during the Olympics, it's 2 a.m. and I'm on my phone and, in bed. My wife's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm watching Casey Caulfield and Brady Ellis in a finals match, like getting stoked out of my mind because I know these people, So it's cool to be able to manufacture products that put people on an Olympic podium. My Olympic podium is probably killing a bull elk, right? Or shooting a nice mule deer or just a success on a hunt that puts me in a high that's undescribable. And either moment that you're in for Easton, our goal, I tell our salespeople this all the time, we sell confidence. When you draw that bow back, I want you to be confident that arrow was made in the USA. It was made with attention and care and by people who love the sport, who know the attributes an arrow need to have to be accurate, to be consistent. And I think all over the world we've proven that, whether it's on a podium or whether it's on a mule deer hunt or an elk hunt or a whitetail hunt or hog hunt, whatever your thing is, it's that confidence that we want the consumer to have, you guys to have with our products. When they come out of our factory, they are ready to hunt, to win an Olympic medal or whatever it may be.
I was able to, Cody came over, which was awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks for sending him down. That was purely my request to have Cody come down and make some content with me. I love that kid. I think he's going to do great for you guys in the future.
He's a great guy, man. I'm glad he shaved his beard.
Yeah.
It's like under control now.
Under control.
He's married. It looked sharp at the wedding. Did you see him at the wedding?
Yeah.
He looked super sharp. Good guy.
If you guys don't know, we're talking about Cody Griffin. Great dude. He's kind of my handler.
Yep.
And I love working with him. Great dude. Met him at TAC. He comes over. You guys should watch that video. It's a riot. But he built these arrows for me, which was really cool. And then sent them.
So he probably built this one, right? I don't know if you can even see that on the camera, but if you haven't seen it, it's the experimental arrow. Is this the one he gave you and built for you originally?
Yeah, he built that one. Yep. And then I got these right before, right when I got back from Utah. And I had like a 3-day window to get these arrows built. And they were a little different GPI, obviously. Mm-hmm. And so my total arrow weight was a little lighter. Which
than the
Parallel
Pro, right?
So I was like, I need to just do a couple little things. I got it doped, headed to Montana. 4 days later, shot a bull with this. Awesome. Super stoked, man. And I love 5 mils. I'm an Easton Axis guy through and through. Actually, FMJ. I still say I've killed more bulls with FMJs.
Yep.
And I've killed a few with FMJs, man. Like that's all I would use forever.
And we have a new FMJ arrow this year as well.
So we'll have to cover. I don't have it here.
Yeah, we can talk a little bit after this.
But I love Easton Axis forever and ever and ever. But I was just getting lighter and lighter, and I ended up like doing a stent from a different manufacturer. Mm-hmm. And now I think there's just a lot of dudes out there that can be pumped about the grains per inch on this 300.
It's so. I mean, I think you're exactly right. And over the last probably 3 or 4 years is when the feedback for this arrow has been just really elevating, right? To where when we were getting called out on podcasts and all sorts of places. And frankly, I think our competitors did a great job of filling this category in and did well with a real lightweight 5mm shaft. What I mentioned before, it was important for us to make it here. So we've been in works of that for several years, and it's really easy to order something like this overseas. But about 2 years ago, I started shooting them, and that's when we kind of had like this final prototype. But I mean, at Easton, when we release something, I mean, it's like an abundance of preparation, and we are checking all of the all of the boxes, dotting our I's, crossing our T's, and I wanted to launch it the year before. And our VP of product was like, I want one more year with it, like.
Dude, that's stringent vetting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so we'd killed all sorts of animals with it kind of internally. And it was after that we then brought people like you in and said, okay, this is at the point where we're ready to bring it to market. What are your thoughts? So, I mean, the new Easton 5mm, it's called the Easton 5.0. I'm a little biased with the name because I thought it up. I think it's cool.
It makes sense.
It's 5.0 Mustang.
Yeah.
The 5.0 for police.
Policia.
It's kind of a cool. I thought it had a nice ring to it. I took some heat internally, but
really,
yeah, we had 100 different names. I think the best one was the WTF, the Wow That's Fast. It was going to be the
That
Wow.
Ain't gonna work. That ain't gonna work.
That one made me laugh at least, but. I mean, to kind of talk about some of these weights for you. So I have the catalog here. The 200 is 10.6 GPI. The 250 is 9.5. 300 is 8.4. I'm a 340 shooter, 7.5. I'm shooting this arrow at 307 feet per second.
Okay, so time out, man. We gotta have a similar draw length. What's your draw length?
27.5.
What are you pulling?
70. You do 80, right?
Yeah. I could do 340, I think. Maybe.
Well, I'm probably breaking the rules slightly, but I cut that arrow like I cut it super
bolt.
short.
Yeah. Okay.
So, and that's how I'm able to get away with the 340.
Yeah.
If I was going probably, what they suggest, 2 inches, 3 inches past at least the rest.
Don't do that. Do what Tyson does.
Yeah, I cut it right to the rest.
Same.
And I was shooting the X10 Parallel Pro before. I still shoot that arrow. I love it. I group super tight with it. And every once in a while I like a 4mm, but I like the components of a 5mm better.
Right?
Lighted nocks are, to me, a crucial part, especially in the elk woods.
What are you running?
For lighted nocks?
Yeah.
I actually, the last 2 seasons have not even shot a lighted nock at all because I was shooting 4mm. So I don't know. You tell me, what should I shoot in the 5mm?
My videos would do so much better if I shot lighted nocks. I just haven't found the one that I'm willing to go. Nocks are so important, man.
They are.
Like I'm going to be switching out all my nocks on my X10 Parallel Pros very soon. I just ordered a couple hundred.
Yeah.
I've been shot them all. I want to switch them out.
There's target shooters who go through thousands of nocks a year.
Okay.
I'm just
paranoid
I'm not
about
that crazy,
so
but yeah.
Haven't found one but I'm just saying I've tried them all. And they're all halos are pretty good.
Halos I hear really good things about. I think,
but I'm not using them on my hunts.
There's some tried and true. I'm not even great with lighted nocks. What's the one that's been around forever? Why can't I think of it right now?
Oh,
I think Faradyne. It's a Faradyne.
Oh yeah, it is.
That's embarrassing. I can't think of it, but
Nocturnal.
Nocturnal. Thank you. But I'm sure. I mean, I'll. Heck, maybe we can get some feedback from this. People tell what lighted nock should I shoot? Help me out here. But I think that's a crucial change for me with this arrow that I'm excited about. My dad started shooting them this year. He shoots Axis. He missed a nice bull. I called in for him, and he shot just low. Yep. And I told him, he's shooting 60 pounds now, and I'm like, I'm gonna get you some 5.0s because I think you'd have shot just fast enough. He misranged it. Yeah. I think you'd have been shooting fast enough. You'd have heart punch that.
Honestly, that's my biggest thing with a lighter GPI is I'm not a long draw guy. I don't have that LDE, long draw energy.
Yep. We're the same.
Either do you.
But that's why we get close to elk.
I get very close. But man, there are things like branches and stuff like that. If I went to a heavier arrow, which I have no issue, for the record, of guys doing some of the heavier protocols.
No.
High-end FOC, like all that stuff. If
I were a whitetail hunter strictly, if I was tree stand hunting for whitetail, 30 yards,
yes,
that would be all I do. And I like what James Yates does, actually.
What does he do?
He has both. He has like a heavy arrow with a fixed blade that he has for close encounters.
Yep.
And then I think it's the Canyon sight that like flips and changes. I mean, he's just way too complex.
You have two sight tapes too. You have your dual sight tapes. You can do that with the UV as well. And it takes some tinkering and some tuning. You got to know what you're doing, but yeah.
So I know there's people that do that, but man, if I were strictly whitetail hunting from a tree stand, I think there is some power to wait for forgiveness of shot angles. I went on a whitetail hunt a month or so ago. Well, maybe not even that. 2 weeks, I was telling you, with Joe and Stuart. And they had, you learn, so I'm not a big whitetail hunter. This is kind of like my first experience outside of like guided hunts for work. Yeah. And what I learned is you've got all these different angles you're working with, that some shot forgiveness with a heavier arrow might make sense. For my personal belief, now that being said, both of those guys love this new 5mm arrow, and that's what they're shooting. So I think the nice thing with archery is if you like heavy arrows, shoot a heavy arrow. If you like a fast speed arrow, shoot a speed arrow. People that tell me you can't kill with a light, do you want to get hit with a wiffle ball? I was a 14-year-old kid shooting an Alpine Lightning Youth bow. Do you remember Alpine?
I think they're made in Idaho.
Were they really?
Yeah.
I had the shop I went to told me it was the best. Oh, was it really in Lewiston? So Alpine Lightning Youth bow with 600 spine Beeman Camo Hunters. I was pulling 40 pounds. I don't even know how fast I was shooting, but I know it would go in one side of an elk and out the other side of an elk. So to me, my personal philosophy is trajectory is accuracy. And I don't always have time to range exact, I know that's 40 yards. I know that's under 40 yards. I want one pin that kills under 45, that I can put it right in the middle. And if there's so much going on in that moment. And better than anybody how hard it is to get an elk encounter. I mean, for me, it's like 4 days to get a shot, 5 days some seasons to get like a shot opportunity on a bull that I want to shoot. I don't have that many days to hunt. So if I've got 10 days, 12 days, 13 days in a season to hunt, I might be able to get 2 or 3 opportunities for a shot. Now, that doesn't even mean I got my bow drawn. That doesn't even mean that the elk came into, I guess it means it came into the window I wanted, that I was shootable, but I blew it because I had a range. I wasn't sure. So to me, this new arrow creates a level of forgiveness for anyone hunting, especially if you're wanting to shoot long distances. It gives you forgiveness in your trajectory. So I'm a little biased because that's my personal philosophy. I work with people much smarter than me that their philosophy is they like the axis arrow. They think it's the perfect middle of the road. It's not too heavy. It's not too light. You still have strong kinetic energy, or even the new FMJ that we have. That's kind of that middle of the road weight. But for those speed seekers, there's not a better arrow in the market now. It's, like I said, it's light. It's shooting very, very fast. We have a brand new component for it. Are you shooting hits and collars? It looks like.
Show the guys my components.
Yeah, so it looks like here, I'll grab you're shooting the hit collar and some match grade field points that look awesome. But the hit collar is just designed to go right over and protect the front of the arrow. The hit system is really designed to give you perfect broadhead alignment. So if you think about it, in manufacturing, there's the idea of tolerance stack, of tolerance. So when you run a traditional insert that sits on the edge of the arrow, you're dealing with a cut face, which may or may not be perfectly square.
Yo.
Then you're dealing with the back side of the insert that mates up with the front of the arrow. That will also have some level of variation.
Yeah.
I mean, it's perfection in manufacturing is difficult, or if not impossible. Then you have the front side of the insert, and then you have the back side of the point or the broadhead. So now you've stacked, I guess you could say that's 4 different
surfaces,
imperfect surfaces.
Yeah.
Where with the hit collar, with the hit, you have 1.
Yeah.
And the broadhead or field point is going into the arrow, aligning with the arrow, rather than, again, an imperfect insert that it's going into. So the hit with a collar is what's going to be on our match grade line. And we'll also ship that with AAE Hybrid 26 on the match grade version. And the standard will come with either our new half out, which is a steel half out.
What's it weigh?
Weighs 50 grains.
Oh, really? I'd run that.
Yeah.
So it's just a nice little half out, meets up, good to
Simple,
go.
clean.
50.
And we are launching a match grade half out as well. So if you saw the stuff for the 4 mils,
Yes.
it's the same design, same engineer that designed that, engineered the new and designed the
Same
new one.
offerings, aluminum, titanium.
There's
titanium steel.
There's 2 offerings.
Okay.
So because of the kind of half out included, we didn't want to double up on that weight.
Makes sense.
But I believe there's 2 weight offerings. Now that you're catching me cold here, let me
No,
see
this is
if
good,
I
and
can.
I'm going to get in your ear a little bit. And Josh Jones, I love you, buddy. But Easton could make titanium stuff too, like a half
Sure.
out. I usually almost always go with podium stuff because I love titanium.
Yeah.
I'm just in love with it. But to your point, the reason why I'm running the half, or the reason I'm running the hit, you guys have that patent. That's your guys' technology. I've been exposed to it for years. There's a little learning curve when you insert those. We might give you guys a little head.
Yeah, link to a video or something.
Link to a video.
Yeah.
But honestly, the longevity of your arrow, especially if you're investing in match grade, the collar will save your butt. Yeah. And you will have so much more forgiveness.
And they come included in the match grade, by the way, as well.
Which is what I'm hearing. So for you hunters out there, man, get yourself a couple dozen non-match grade. And then get yourself a dozen match grade ready for hunting. Make them weigh the same. Go to TAC with your non-match grades, but use the match grades on your hunts. Yep. That's how I think through a bow hunting lens, and I know you do too. So it's like everything's through a bow, not a target lens, but a bow hunting lens.
Absolutely. I don't even I shoot Vegas every year at the Vegas tournament.
You do?
With a target bow and everything. I'm the only guy on the shooting line, I think, with like a wrist strap. Like I don't like hunting, and I know I don't like the handheld.
Mad respect.
I don't like the handheld because
Are you command shooting with that?
Oh, absolutely. I punch
Hell
that trigger like
yes.
it's going out of style. Yeah. And I don't like people are what is that? I'm like, well, this is what I hunt with. Like I don't want to screw up how I hunt. And if you shoot with a handheld, that's great. I just don't. So
I get you, Tyson.
Yeah.
I get you, dog. That's awesome.
I look at everything as a hunting lens. The whole reason behind how I set up my arrow like I do. I mean, TAC's fun, but it's fun. Like to me, business starts when you're when you're hunting. Like that's I got a friend into Justin Stevens. He's a stud, good friend of mine. We dirt bike, snowmobiled together forever. I finally got him into bow hunting this year. And he told me he's a big backcountry skier. He's like, I feel like every other hobby I have is like a game. And now hunting is like real life. Like hunting is now like,
yes, sir.
This is like, it's no longer a game. Like it's fun. It's addicting. But it is. It's like this real, I don't even know, like primitive beast is born within you that wants to provide your own meat, that wants to see where your meat came from. I mean, I don't even let anybody process my meat. I want to see that backstrap come off, cut into a butterfly steak, and put into freezer paper. I like it.
That's legit.
My wife said she'd never help me, by the way. That was like one of her precursors when we were dating.
Oh, really?
We were engaged, and she was already cutting up meat.
Well, that didn't last. No. Tell everybody the FMJ stats, too, while we're on it.
Yeah, so the FMJ 5mm Max, it basically, the way we're kind of positioning right now, the current FMJ, we're going to kind of refer to as the FMJ Classic. It's been in our line, I think, for 21 years. It's probably killed more elk than any arrow in the last 20 years, and whitetail. I mean, really. I mean, it's been a solid arrow for us. It's made the FMJ mean heavy.
Yeah.
When you hear FMJ, is that what you think?
Yeah, I think it's built for war. I'm not worried about weight.
Right.
It's not a consideration. It's kind of max penetration, and it's the best of both worlds. I mean, carbon and aluminum. Are you kidding me?
Sure.
So aluminum jacket, sign me up.
And I think that's what's been lost. That FMJ technology, people just think of it as heavy,
sure,
which some people like, right?
Yeah.
But it's starting to get more and more of a drift towards lighter and additional FOC setups, right?
Yeah.
So the new FMJ Max is about 2 grains per inch lighter than the previous FMJ.
Okay.
Which is a big deal.
Gives you a lot of options there.
I mean, what is that, 50 grains on an arrow or
which
more?
you can manipulate the component tree to kind of find your sweet spot.
If you like weight, now you're going to go from a setup that's like, I think for me, I was at about 11.6
FOC.
FOC, and keeping my weight constant, entire setup constant, brought me to 15.8.
And that could show up downrange.
Absolutely. So
with broadheads.
And that's if you liked the weight that you had, you don't want your sight tape to change, you were shooting FMJs, like you can shoot the same weight and now have a stronger FOC with by changing to the FMJ Max. Or if you just want a little bit more speed and you like the FMJ technology, which is what has kind of been lost as people have just thought of it as heavy. It's just a heavy kinetic energy. It's the elk pounding, whitetail, gives you some forgiveness on different angles. But now what we want to focus again on our marketing is when you mate carbon and aluminum together, it gives you the most consistent spine, arrow to arrow. It gives you the most consistent spine around shaft. So, I've explained that probably 1,000 times, but spine is measured, as I hope, well, you and I certainly know, but for your viewers that don't know, it's 2 points of the arrow, 28 inches apart, and they hang a weight in the middle. How much does it bend, right? So a 300 spine is 300 thousandths of an inch, 0.300 inches of bend, of deflection with that weight hung. Now, what happens to that spine, to that stiffness, if you rotate the arrow 20 degrees, 1 degree, 2 degrees? It's a new strength plane. So if you hear of people knock tuning and they're twisting and chasing that knock around, what they're trying to do is align strength planes from one arrow to the next so they get a consistent impact point downrange. James Yates did a big article about it. I don't know if you read it. In Western Hunter, I want to say it was a year or two ago. When I first met James, he was knock tuning at the Easton Center. He's shooting competitor arrow. He was knock tuning. And I was like, I didn't even know who he was. I'm like, what are you doing? And he explained what he was doing, and I was like, okay, I'm just there shooting, and he helped me with my form. He answered a few questions for me, but it was really eye-opening as I read his article. He doesn't knock tune. He doesn't really have to worry about it anymore. And I think that's that confidence, that little extra bit of Easton confidence. If you're not a super technical guy, it doesn't really matter. We want you to know that if you shoot an Easton arrow, there's a lot of things that other really highly technical people are worried about, that once they switch to Easton with our AccuCarbon process, there is no stiff, major variation in spine around the shaft. And in a lot of instances, when you hear spine aligning, what they're doing is finding that really stiff part of the spine, which is generally where the seam of the arrow is.
Yeah.
Due to their manufacturing process, they have a seam. And they're identifying that for you, which helps the shot be more consistent. We don't spine align because our arrows are made seamless.
Oh.
You saw that process.
Yes, sir.
When you were in Salt Lake. So we have videos online. I think you even did a bit of a video when you came out, didn't you, a few years ago?
No, we didn't. And I'm going to come out in 2020. I'm going to come to TAC in Salt Lake, and I'm going to come down early just to make a new updated video and try to
we'll tune in for that. I mean,
film as much as I can there.
It's cool. It's cool.
But to your point, a lot of you guys out there that preach knock tuning, I get it. That's cool. If you are rolling with Easton, there is no seam. And also, if you're not an Olympic or a professional archer, you might not even be good enough for knock tuning to really play a factor. And I'll give you an example. The guy right here, I'm not good enough. I don't knock tune. I'm not good enough.
I don't know, man. I watch you shoot. Unless you're editing the crap out of that.
Yeah.
Like, you look like you're good enough that you could see.
Well, good editing. But I'm
good editing.
But I'm for real. Like, I don't knock tune at all.
Yeah, I don't either.
But I also get enough arrows to where I kind of batch them down to my best ones anyways. But you could knock tune. I don't knock tuning. But I think with Easton, it's important to know it's seamless.
Yep.
It's made in America. The biggest thing I wanted to get you on today, Tyson, is I know you're very busy professional with Easton, heavily involved. A lot of the company's vision and decisions go through your lane, and that's awesome. But what makes me most happy about all that is that you are a 35-year-old fit dude who gets after it with hunting. And you are one of the most diehard bow hunters at Easton. We're looking at him right here.
I hope so.
Definitely.
I hope so.
The rumor mill has always told me that. And so I got you here in the flesh. Mule deer or elk? You can only pick one.
Elk. Or, excuse me, mule deer. I was going to say, I'm sorry, it's not elk. It's mule deer.
Yeah, and I figured you'd say that.
Yeah. There's just nothing like a solid, just 4x4 deep forks I mean, that look when they just whip, head down, you're waiting for their head to pick up, and they just swing that head and look at you. There's nothing like that.
Steep, remote, almost bowl. Buck rebeds 3 different times, finally in his final bed. Thermals have changed, fuzzy velvet, or down in the lower country, lip curling, neck swollen, multiple does around. You have to pick one. Are we talking early season or rut mule deer with a bow?
I've only hunted rut mule deer once. Believe it
okay.
or not. It's really hard in Utah to hunt rutting mule deer. I mean, the archery season is generally that early season bit. You can hunt the kind of extended archery, right? But there's a lot of people that make that hunt a little less enjoyable.
Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, and it's like super competitive people. For me, it would probably be that early season.
Yeah.
I do love the weather of that early season. I think velvet's beautiful, though I probably would say I prefer hard horned. But a nice velvet mount, the weather that time of year. I mean, if you're up in the high country, it's cool mornings, it warms up, it's nice, wildflowers. I don't know what it's called. We call it skunk cabbage. Like you're walking on potato chips.
Yep.
It's generally not potato chips at that point. So you're getting through some of those meadows, and where we hunt, there's a lot of it. And I like the patternability of those early season bucks. Mm-hmm. I think as a mule deer hunter, a little different maybe than whitetail, it's hard to pattern a mule deer. I mean, their life can it's bringing them all over the place, right? That early season I found to be pretty predictable, where you can go find solid bucks year after year, and just high opportunity for mule deer that time of year as well. So I like the opportunity bit of I can go get on 6 or 8 deer in a full day.
Yep.
That time of year. So I'd probably tell you it's the first part of the season, but obviously for elk it's the rut. I mean, there is nothing like a bugling bull ripping in your face, and your hair on the back of your neck stood up and you're shaking so bad you can't hardly get your bow back. It's hard to deny the right situation with an elk. I'd rather be hunting the elk, but looking at them strictly, I just love the look of a solid mule deer.
Okay, I'm going to hold your feet to the fire. Generalities. We're just speaking like historical Tyson data. All the mule deer you've stalked in on, okay? What's the magic? What's the sweet spot, Tyson? How close is too close to get to the mule deer? And then do you wait them out, or do you get them to stand up?
Patience is not a virtue for me. So generally the patience piece is I'm going to try to get them to stand up.
How?
I've done all the things. You throw the rock up and over, or you just, I've made like.
And then do you draw as soon as you let go of that rock?
Yeah. I've drawn before. They've not stood up, it's all sorts of stuff.
Do you throw way past them? Do you throw the rock just a little bit past them?
I'm going to throw it depends on how close I am, but I'm going to make sure I get it past them, right? I mean, if you got something that's 70, 80 yards, you got to get a hold of a rock pretty good at that point to get it past him, right?
Yeah.
So I'm making sure I get it past him, but I don't want to scare him, right?
Right.
So I don't know, 20, 30 yards past him. But I think I've had probably just better luck just making some sort of a natural sound to increase curiosity.
Okay.
Whether it's a cow call, even if I'm deer hunting, but a cow call or
that's interesting.
Or a rub, right?
Yep.
Just scraping a tree.
Yep.
Now, the tough part with some of that is being able to draw and be ready. But if it's a natural sound, to me, the most concerning thing for either a mule deer or an elk is silence.
Yep.
Like silence, predators are quiet.
Yeah.
And I might have heard that from Joel Turner.
Yeah.
Actually, I think he might have said that, and I like that. Like predators walk through the woods silent.
Yes.
So I don't, if I'm pretending to be an elk and I'm mule deer hunting, right?
Yeah.
Because I want that buck to stand up and I'm pretending to be an elk, like I might give a real soft cow call, and then I'm going to start breaking a few things. I'm going to start stepping on a couple branches lightly, and I might escalate it a little bit, but it's the same with elk as well. Like and my dad hunted with me all season, and I was like, just hike. Like, don't worry about it. Just hike. We're just hiking right now. And we, skirted this bowl for probably 3 hours one morning. Walking I was cow calling, I was bugling. I was acting like a herd of elk below him, and we were making a ton of noise, and that's the one he got the shot on. So, to answer your question, yeah, I throw a rock, I cow, but I've probably had better luck just acting like I was some sort of an animal, getting them to be curious to stand up and look. But I've sat there for 2, 3, 4 hours before and had luck that way. At the end of the day, as soon as I feel like I've learned how to mule deer hunt or how to elk hunt, then I learn that I don't know what I'm doing.
Amen to that.
And this year was kind of like a depressing. It was just a tough season for us. Like I didn't get a deer tag. My dad and brother both got deer, so that was fun. Kind of early season, and I was there for one of them. I was there with my brother when he got his. But then the elk season was just tough. It was. I think we called in 3 bulls all season. I think I hunted 14 days, and
that's rough, man.
We went 5 or 6 days without seeing an elk. So at that point, you're trying to convince yourself you still like hunting, right? It's like, my wife would be like, "How was it?" I'm like, "It was fun." It was miserable, right?
Yeah.
But to me, I think as soon as I feel like I figured out, I should throw a rock, I should do this. They're wild animals who spend their entire existence trying to survive. Throwing a rock might work 100 times. The 101st time, it's not going to work, and you should have done something different, right?
Yeah.
Probably, I would think it'd be difficult to argue that the best thing would not be just to sit and wait.
Yeah. What's your favorite distance to be from a mule deer?
My favorite distance is 20 yards, but with mule deer, I think you can take longer shots. Has been my experience. 60, 70 yards. I think if you're a proficient shooter. Mule deer don't have that reaction time that you see from a whitetail. Preferred distance would be 20 yards, but certainly 60, 70 yards. I'm not going to hesitate on a mature deer, head down, feeding. Certainly with an elk, I'm not going to hesitate at that range either. I've had good success at yardage. But I think that's all, some of the preparation. How much do you shoot? How good of a shooter are you? Are you spun up in the moment? There's been times where I haven't took a 40-yard shot. I was too pumped up. Like I was just, all right, this isn't going to work well. And I'm not going to shoot unless I kind of operate under the abundance of caution. So I'm not going to shoot if I'm not completely confident. But no wind, calm nerves, 60 yards on a mule deer. Yeah.
Guys, this is Tyson from Easton coming all the way down here to do this pod. We're going to go do a couple other little things on this arrow, but head over to your local dealer, check them out, get your hands on them, look at all the components. If you have any questions, reach out to, you guys have phone numbers and emails and all that kind of stuff. You can get a hold of, they have employees, they have people ready to help you out. But support your local dealer. Head down there, check them out, see it for yourself. This is definitely something that you should consider running. I got to run them this year on elk. I'm sold on them. I love the GPI. This is an awesome arrow. Tyson, parting advice, words to our audience.
What I would say on the 5mm, the new Easton 5.0 specifically, is they're going to sell really, really well for us. I'm confident of that. Get them as soon as you can. I hate being in back order on things, but I'm telling you, I'm already worried about our ability to keep up with these. So get them as soon as you can. Your dealers are probably going to start having them really, frankly, probably by the end of December. Most shops will have them. Get them as soon as you can. I've had great luck with them. I think the market is obviously spoken that they've wanted Easton to have a lightweight 5mm arrow for years. So go to your local pro shop, support your dealer. We're big advocates of the dealer. I think that's the backbone of archery. Without shops, the sport really kind of dies. It's just required too much service. So support your local dealer and go check them out. Thanks, you guys. Thanks for having me, Dan.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, man.
All right.
Guys, separation's in the preparation. We'll catch you on the next one.